87% of realtors get into the business and get out of the business in 2 years. That doesn't exist in our world.
We have massive visions around growing our businesses, and we are always looking to add talent to our world. We do everything in our power to ensure the people we surround ourselves with defy the odds, get into production, and build massive lives for themselves.
If you are a realtor looking to get into the business, we have a blueprint for success.
With locations all across Canada, reach out to us. Let's talk about partnership and opportunities. We are looking forward to it. Welcome to another Sales Beast podcast. Very excited to have Sir Colin Campbell on the podcast with us this week. We're going to be talking about some amazing stuff, his journey into real estate and the amazing empire that he's created to this day. So Colin, thanks for coming on today.
Guys, thank you so much for having me. Truly a pleasure. Obviously, I've been around when you guys started the podcast. Love to see what you've done with it so far and just the momentum that is built up. So I'm just honored to be a part of it.
Thanks for joining us. I got to ask you, where did this sir come from? No one's ever explained that.
I've never asked him this question, so we're hearing it live on the podcast.
It's self-proclaimed. Visualize what is it you want. However, it started off because born and grew up in Guyana. I was a youth ambassador for the country. So I did a lot of work internationally where I would travel around the world and just bring back, services to Guyana, youth employment services, just to help young people get into business. And every time I travel, whether it's the US, whether it's Europe, whether it's Egypt, whether it's all Australia, people would always refer to me as Sir Colin. And I was like, ooh, I kind of like this. So back home, even back when I went back home, people started referring to me as Sir Colin. Sir Colin meaning, as a sign of respect more so. But when you see someone as a teacher, someone who's teaching and who's teaching other people, you address them as Sir. And then, you could start thinking about the knight part. So my goal is to be knighted one day. We'll see. But that's where Sir Colin comes from.
Nice. Move over, Richard Branson.
Yes.
There's a new kid on the block.
Yes, it is.
So I don't know what you think about this, Anna, but so you're very successful in your business, and we'll get into that, but you come from a different place than most of us. And
yep.
Yeah, what's that saying? It takes 5 years, it's often longer than that, to create an overnight success. And since I've known who you were, in my eyes, this Sir guy was just an overnight success. I didn't realize until recently there's a lot more to that story. So can you talk about where you're from originally and how you ended up here?
Absolutely. What I can tell you, it took me 20 years to become an overnight success. That's where I'm at right now. So like I said, growing up in Guyana, went to school there, youth ambassador there. I was working for the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports, where we're bringing a lot of young programs to young people. So did that for some time. My wife, who is Canadian, she did a volunteer work in Guyana, where she was advisor to the minister there, the Minister of Culture, Youth and Sports. So at that point, I'm working there. We started dating. And that relationship evolved. Had no idea that, a couple years later, I'll be packing up and moving to Canada. But that's what women can do. That's what my wife did. I'm grateful for that, obviously. So just to make a long story short or longer, decide that Canada is where we want to live. We're going to start a family. So moved here. She's a teacher. She's working, moved here in the 25th of April, 2003. So 19 years ago, moved to this country. And my wife says, all right, now you're here. Let's take the summer off and we're going to go travel Canada. I was like, you're crazy. We're not doing that. I need to get to work. So I started putting applications out, and I'm proud to say the first job I had was selling newspapers for the Toronto Star outside of the subway. 19 years later, we now own a brokerage of 240 agents, and we're looking at creating 100 millionaires in the next 8 years. So there you go.
Rags to riches. I heard when you showed up, you had something like $300 in your pocket.
$300 in my pocket. 300. And it's 300 US, so that could have been a lot of money, right? So it was a lot. It was a lot of money.
So for you, how crazy it was internally and externally, going from, being, selling newspapers outside the subway to now, just back in December, having an article written about you and all of the amazing things that you did in the newspaper that you were selling. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
It's funny how life can come full circle, eh? It really is. Do I know I would have been here 19 years ago? No. However, I knew I was going to build something big, and I was going to be a part of something big. I always knew that inside of me. My affirmation every day: I'm blessed and I'm a blessing unto others. I say that throughout the day. Many times throughout the day, you'll see me mouthing it to myself, right? So it's just one of those things. So did I know this path I would have taken? Absolutely not. However, as I'm selling newspapers, I knew I was built for something bigger. And after being there, I think it was like 6 weeks of being on the job, I decided, no, I can't do this. Enough is enough. Handed in my resignation. The guy's like, are you kidding me? I'm about to make you supervisor. You're going to do so well. Thank you very much, but this is not for me, right? And then after I left that, I went to Radio Shack, and I just started working up the ladder, and to build something bigger. Funny enough, I think it was my second year of being in Canada. I said, I'm going to sell real estate. However, at this point, I have a decent job now. I'm now a manager at Radio Shack. I'm working my way up to district manager. That is in my future. And there's a steady paycheck, a decent job. You have a company car, laptop, a BlackBerry, and a pager at that time. So you're living the life, right? I'm balling at that point.
I was just about to say you're balling.
Yes. At the same time, I knew real estate, it's tough because every day you have to go there and create income. Every day you wake up unemployed. So I knew that is something that I always wanted to do. However, I was scared because have a family or about to start a family. Where's this money coming from? Where's this predictability of a secured position coming from? And that didn't come until I actually took a leap of faith and trusted in myself, trusted in a higher power, and just decide, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And I went out there. And sometimes when you see people living a massive life, it's because of the risks that they've taken, right? I could have played it safe. I would have still been at an okay job where I wasn't really happy, but I was living an okay life. And I dared to step out and make that change. And I'm so grateful that I did, because I've not only changed my lives, I've changed a lot of lives around me.
And also Radio Shack's not around anymore. So I think you made the decision.
However, they have the source, they changed names. So yeah.
I think that's so key. Like when I listen to that story, I think I'm sure everyone on this call will go through the career visioning process all the time when we're interviewing people. One thing that stood out to me there was track record. Like, it seems like wherever you were, whether or not it was a child in Guyana or a young guy in Guyana working as a youth ambassador or a Radio Shack, you were good at whatever you were doing.
And I think that came from always wanting to be, I'm always competing with myself. I'm such a strong competitor, but I'm always competing with myself. My biggest competitor is myself. Who do I see as, somebody that I want to be better than? My future self. So I'm always competing with my future self. And the only way I can do that is being the best version that I can be. So when I'm in a role, I want to learn that role. I want to master that role. I want to teach that role. I want to excel in that role. So it allows me to just, with that mentality, it allows me to dig deep and get as much information as possible. I'm not afraid to be that person in the room who doesn't know anything. I'm constantly putting myself in a room where I'm looking around and I'm thinking, how on earth did I get in here? I should not be in this room. But that is, and I think by being in those rooms, it elevates you. You think better, you become a better leader, you just become a better human being. So I'm constantly pushing and challenging myself that way.
I love what you just said there too. And I think that's a big testament to what was created with KWYP. Like, not only are you an owner now of a market center that's running successfully, but you're also part of the KWYP founded KW Legacies, right?
Yes.
So can you talk to us about your journey with KWYP and how that helped you, become the person you are today?
It's funny because that is such, being a part of KWYP is such a pivotal role in my career and where I am today owning a brokerage. If it weren't for KWYP, would I have been here? I doubt it. I honestly doubt it, because I'm in a room with a bunch of smart people. Anna's in that room. And one day we're talking about, what would it look like if we all owned a brokerage? And now you're in that room and people are stretching you. You're now thinking bigger. Oh, forget about just a brokerage. What would it look like to own the country? And here is, 5, 6 young adults. I think I was the eldest in the room. And we're talking about what would it look like to own Keller Williams Canada? And in that moment, we picked up the phone and we got on a call. And Keller Williams Legacies was born. 6 months later, somebody else in that group owns a market center. Less than 9 months later, somebody else in that group owns a market center. A year later, I'm owning a market center. If it weren't for that group, I wouldn't have been here. And that is the beauty about having people who wants to see you succeed at a high level, but it's also going to challenge you to be, because they see your potential. I remember being in the group and I was talking about, my goal is to donate $1 million. And everyone said, why are you being so selfish? Why just $1 million? Why not $10 million? And you're like, oh, sorry, I'm thinking small, right? And that is the beauty of a mastermind group, a tribe, your people who just want to see you succeed. And that is what KWYP has done for me. And because it's done that for me, I want to do that for people coming after me.
That's one thing I've always wondered about. Like, I know for the most part who was in that room with you guys, and a lot of those people, obviously Sandy's had a massive impact on my life. She's taken me from nothing to where I am now. And then someone like Dylan, for instance, financially, I offer zero benefit to Dylan, but he spends time with me. He'll book a meeting with me to give me unsolicited advice about the MREA, and this is the way we need to be building our businesses. He's done that many times, and I just noticed that with Anna does the same thing with everyone in that group. You all come from a place of wanting to help others, and in return, you help yourselves in a big way.
I think it was Jim Rohn that says, you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want. And that is it to the core in that group. We want to come from contribution, because the only way to leave a legacy, forget about money and all of that, but to leave an actual legacy is to help people around you. And that is what that group is about. I know no matter what situation I'm in, I can reach out to that group and they have my back, right? How many of us are in a group like that? I would say to people listening to us on this podcast or even watching online, who are some of the people you admire the most? And I think the second question I would ask, who are the people you're spending the most time with? And make sure that those two groups are the same. Because if those two groups are the same, the sky's the limit for you, and that person will achieve all their goals.
I think too, I would add to that quickly is like, if you don't know what you want that group to look like, or you don't know who to surround yourself with, just start thinking about who you want to become and then find the people that are like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Start hanging out with people that are your future self. Your goal is to make $1 million a year. Start hanging out with millionaires. You're going to be the next millionaire. That's it.
Such good advice. I don't know if we're allowed to say this. We're writing a book.
That is awesome.
That's a bit of a tie into the podcast. And one of the chapters is I'm responsible for writing that chapter.
Yeah.
It's on exactly that. So I'm going to come back to this and
absolutely. And anything I can do to help you, let me know. You need to reach out to me as a resource. I'll gladly help you.
Yeah. It's so true though. Yeah. Who you hang out with is who you ultimately become.
Right.
And I don't think it's really challenging because I was having a conversation with Sandy and then one of the agents on the team today, and we all agreed that before we started hanging out with those people, we heard the phrase, you're the average of your 5 people, that just sounded cliche to us and we didn't necessarily believe it.
Yeah.
My advice to anyone in that situation is just try it and it will rock your world.
Yeah. I think I'd mentioned this a while back, because is just look at your goals of, let's say you're climbing Mount Everest, because some of us have massive goals like that. And they're so big, you don't know when you're going to get to the top. And you might have people in your life right now that are going to just get you to base camp. And then you're going to have to bring new people on to get you to the next level of Mount Everest. And then you might need a skilled Sherpa to get you to the summit. But those guys who help just take your luggage out of your plane or get you to the mountain are not necessarily the same who's going to get you to the top of Mount Everest. So when we're looking at our lives, look to see who is on that journey with us. And it's okay. And if people are looking for permission right now, here it is. It's okay if people are not, to cut people out of your life as well. Family is family. You can't cut them their blood. However, doesn't necessarily mean you need to spend all of your time with them. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Like you said, it can be so cliche, but it's so true. You're looking at losing weight. You're not going to hang out with people who every day they're going to a buffet, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You're going to hang out with people who are going to the gym. And it's the same with achieving our own goals. You want to hang out with people who are on their way to achieving similar goals as you, or who've already achieved your goals.
Absolutely. Very well said. Yes, I have a question for you. It's about, like, you're obviously a very high level thinker. You move quick, you expose yourself to high level people. How important is it to you when you're building out your team or your brokerage to ensure that the people you're allowing to enter your world, say team members, new agents, how important is it to you that they think that way? Because those team members, you spend a ton of time with them also. With the wrong attitude, wrong mindset, I find they can really impact you in a negative way. So how do you ensure you're letting the right people into your life and letting the right people join your team?
That's an interesting question, because as a brokerage, we know we're going to have different levels of people. However, I think I would choose to answer this way. The people that I choose to be in business with, I'm not looking as a leader to motivate someone every day. My goal is to be in business with motivated people. I shouldn't be coming to you every day being that cheerleader. Yes, you can get up on time. You can be at work on time. Go get them. High five, you made it in at 9 a.m. No, my goal is to get up, be in business with people who want to live a big life, create a big life, and do massive things and change the world. So those are the people that I'm looking for, and I'm looking to be in partnership with it, to be in business with. So it's different. It's different when I'm hiring for my team or a business venture, or let's say for a brokerage, because now as a brokerage, their goal might just be to sell 1 home or 5 homes, while I might be in conversation with someone they're selling 400 homes and they want to leverage now to get to 1,000 homes. So in real estate, the spectrum is so wide. However, as the leader, I also, as someone who's building the brokerage, these are the people I want to be in business with, who are absolutely motivated and not someone I need to motivate every day.
Mm-hmm.
To follow up on that just really quickly, what if people approach you that want to be part of your world, but don't necessarily have that mindset off the bat? What are some ways that you encourage them to think bigger, encourage them to change their mindset about their current worldview?
Well, I think it's important to understand, to be in business with people who comes with a servant mindset, right? Servant attitude, who you're not just doing this for yourself, but you're doing this for the people around you. And due to our own limiting beliefs or upbringing, we might have, our financial blueprint might be totally different. We might have a limited mindset. So if that is someone that we can coach through that problem or that concern, absolutely. But as a leader, my goal is to now raise everyone around me, their lid and their level of thinking. So I'm constantly looking to pour into people so that they can be a better version of themselves. However, I'm looking at someone who, is constantly negative and is, that person is draining your energy. I'm going to limit the amount of time I spend with that person, because as a leader, every day I only have so much I can give, right? And if I'm interacting with someone who's constantly draining or just taking away, it means it limits my ability now to pour into others.
That's awesome. Can you talk to us? It's another example of you going back and thinking of others before yourself. This goal of creating 100 millionaires. What's the deadline on that? When do you actually want to achieve that?
In the next 7 to 8 years, that's the deadline.
How did that come to be? And I guess, why is that important to you?
I know what it's like growing up with nothing. I know what it's like.
Mm-hmm.
I know, what it's like a mom raising 7 kids alone. I know what it's like being the eldest of 7, and you're also now responsible for all your siblings. I know what it's like, being hungry. I know what it's like walking to school for hours before I get to school. I know what it's like having lunch money and not having monies for the bus. Now, do I walk to school, which is about an hour and a half, and use that money for lunch? Or I know what it's like. I know what it's like not having enough. So now, if I can teach people around me how to build and create wealth, and their goal now is to go out and build and create wealth, we can change the freaking world if we do that. We can change people's financial thermostat. And for me to change the world, I first have to change myself. And by changing myself, I'll change the people around me. And by changing the people around me, we're going to change our little community, and then the town, and then the province of Ontario, and then we're going to grow this beast.
Yeah. And can you maybe describe some of the conversations you would have? Like, say I have to be one of those people and you want to turn me into a millionaire.
Yeah.
How do you recognize me as one of those people, for starters? And once you do recognize me as that person, what conversations are we having?
Well, it's identifying your unique abilities. What are you really good at? What do you love doing? Whether you were to do it, you're getting paid or not. And you can do that all day. And with that, does it involve helping other people? That is almost a secret formula. Once we have that, now we can go make money in any areas, right? We're going to talk about how to make money, how to have your money work for you, how to invest that money, how to pay yourself first, right? How to give to charity, because it's not always about us. It's how many people we help along the way. So once you're coming with that mindset and you're willing to learn and grow, we're going to be in business and we're going to go out there and create more millionaires.
Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah. The pay yourself, you coach with Marianne, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. She got me on that book, Profit First, many years ago.
Yeah.
It's almost like a time block for your money. It's really changed my life. So
what I can tell you,
set money aside. Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say, if you want to set money aside for taxes, charity, family, anything, it just is there. You can literally do whatever's important to you.
The book that changed my life around finances is The Richest Man in Babylon.
Okay.
I read that book 2 to 3 times a year.
Yeah.
The January 1st, no matter where I am, I'm reading that book January 1st. Every January 1st for the last 10 years, I'm reading that book. That's what I do on January 1st. I read that book. And that has taught me so much. If I had one book to read or I get one book to keep, it will be that, because it teaches you how to, first pay yourself. Then that 10% that you're putting aside every day, every month, whatever, now you're going to have that money go invest so that they can make more money for you, right? It's one of the best books out there to me, in my humble opinion, in terms of finances and managing your finances. And it's also around mindsets as well. That desire to be and want to do more, right? So it's a beautiful book.
Was there a point, I know I have this point in my past, was there a point in your life where it just clicked that you needed to be and have more at some point in the future, and that you just knew greatness was out there for you, you just didn't exactly know how at that point?
What I can tell you, I don't know when that exact time was. However, even around the age of 5, no, it's either 5 or 7. Now I can't remember. My mom will tell me, because I'm going to see her today. At that age, I was telling everyone that I'm Canadian. At 5. I was telling people that I'm Canadian. I've never been to Canada, don't have family in Canada. And I was telling people I'm Canadian. In Guyana, everybody was just talking about the US, America, and England. And I was telling everyone, no, I'm going to live in Canada. I'm going to have 2 kids, a boy and a girl. And people would ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, a millionaire. That's what I would always say. Always. And now that has changed from an M to a B. So there you go.
There you go. Wow, that's such powerful visualization from such an early age, and obviously you willed it into existence. Now, one question I had for you, Colin, is, for those people listening or those people that are looking to achieve maybe what you've achieved or greater, when they're in the mindset, or when we get into a mindset, or we're stuck in a rut where we're not able to, think positively or think bigger, what are some habits or different things that you've implemented in your life to kind of get out of the negative mindset into a positive mindset?
Gratitude. I start every day with gratitude. Whether it's, just messaging a few people saying how grateful I am that they're in my life, or just mouthing it to myself what I'm grateful for. Right. I've over the last 4.5 years, I've started meditating. And why I've started meditating is because my mind is always going. I'm always thinking, how do I be bigger, better, faster? And literally, I'm at the dinner table with my wife and kids, and I'm listening and I'm engaging in conversation, but I'm planning what my next 5, 6, 7 moves are going to be. So by meditating, it allowed me to quiet my mind. And it allowed me to be present. So when I'm with them, I can be with them. When I'm at the dinner table, I can be at a dinner table, right? But most importantly, coming out of negative, guarding your mindset. I bring it back to gratitude. It's hard to, be grateful and at the same time, be angry. It's almost non-existent for that to happen. So just coming from gratitude, look how far I've come. I know I'm not where I want to be or where I think I should be or where I need to be, but holy smokes, man, look how far I've come. And every time I get in that space, I just give like myself a fist bump, like, yeah. And that allows me now to open room for more to come into my life.
We're doing bold right now. So everything that you said, I kind of just went back to one of the bold laws, focus on the plan, not the problem.
Yes.
Nice. That's the one I have saved as my screensaver this week.
Bold has saved my life.
Yeah.
Bold has allowed me to build a massive business. I did
How many
bold
times have you taken bold?
11 times.
Wow.
11 times. You can say I'm a slow learner, sure. However, every time I took bold, I took my business to the next level. And it's like bold, I liken bold to watching a movie. You watch a movie for the first time and it's a really good movie that you enjoy. When you go watch it again, you're going to see parts that you didn't pick up the first time. And then the third time, the seventh time, you're going to start seeing parts and you're going to be like, okay, now I see why he did that or why she did that. I didn't hire my assistant until my fourth bold, either my fourth or fifth bold. And it's like, oh my gosh, it clicked. I should get an assistant. What the heck? So I didn't hear that at that point. I wasn't ready to receive that information because prior to that, it's how do I get more leads? How do I get more business? And now as I'm starting to get more leads, I'm starting to get more business. How do I leverage this? Ding, an assistant. So repetition is the mother of learning, they say, right? So there we go.
100%. Really, I think you could continue taking bold for the rest of your career. You'd always get something out of it. Like Gary Keller could sit down in that classroom and get something out of it.
Absolutely.
I've just noticed, like when you were a salesperson in bold, yeah, you wanted to learn how to lead generate, sign more listings, script, and role play. But as you move through from salesperson to leader, you can sit back. Like, I'm loving it. I'm sitting back and watching the instructor, who's fantastic, and thinking, what that's coming out of her mouth could I potentially say to my people to help them? Mm-hmm. So the way I look at the course, this has just been vastly different every single time I've gone through it. So I don't care where I'm at in the world. I may be in this business, not in this business. I still want to keep taking bold.
Mm-hmm. It's powerful. It's a powerful course.
Yeah.
There's a guy in our bold right now that's done it 23 times and he swears by it because every single time he does it, he grows his business. So I don't think there's a maximum amount of bolds that you can do, which is amazing.
Mastery is the journey, right? And because all leaders, we just want to get to mastery, and it's doing it over and over and over again. And that's what mastery is about.
And then over again. Don't
Yes.
stop.
Yes.
Amazing. Well, it's been an amazing episode with you. Before we let you go, there's one question that we ask all of our guests, and we want to hear from you. Hopefully we haven't had anyone that you list on our podcast before, but who do you know that we should have on this podcast, Colin?
That's a beautiful question. It's funny. I remember I've learned to ask that question because of Diana Kokoska. Who do you know that I should know, and are you willing to make that introduction? Who? Wow. Why don't we get Bill on?
Bill Soderoff.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's get him on. Yeah. I'll make the introduction.
Sounds good.
What else can I do for you guys? How can I help support you?
This was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly. Yeah.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Once we have a book, written. We have about 500 words each down right now. So once we have a little bit more, maybe some proofreading would help. But
it's funny because I'm actually writing a book right now.
Yeah.
But get this, because I'm writing a book for my son. He doesn't know.
Amazing.
Right? My son turns 18 on June 3rd. So on that day, I intend to give him a book to say, like a letter to your son, but this is now a book to my son, talking about financing, mindset, wealth, work, success, relationships, God. So all of that I'm putting into a book. And I'm going to give it to him on his 18th birthday in less than a month from now. So when I finish working here, I go home and I spend a couple of hours on it every night.
Amazing.
That's a great gift. I'm sure he's going to really appreciate that.
I hope so. I hope so.
I know
you will. I know he will. Guys, thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here. Truly appreciate you guys. Continue to do what you do. Love what you're doing for the community. So see you guys at the top. Take care.
Every day I'm hustling. Every day I'm hustling. Every day I'm hustling. Every day I'm hustling.